Hello, dear friends. I'm sorry I'm sweating like anything because it's so warm here and I've dressed down. Forgive me. Are you Arthur or Martha? What a challenge. Are you Arthur or Martha? What does that mean? Well, it means, what is your sexuality, which is personal to you and God? Or are you trying to pretend that you're Arthur, but within you, you are Martha? Or maybe you're Martha, the woman, but inside you there are stronger male energies, masculine energies, which leaves you paralyzed emotionally. Let me share with you. This is a heart-centered video, thoughts from my heart. I remember many years ago as a young nursing monk in training, I had the privilege of meeting some of the most wonderful young men that God ever brought into my life. And throughout my years, I've met some incredible women who became nuns and who dedicated their lives to God. And when I set up a guest house in North Wales for nuns and monks and nurses who were burning out in ministry, it became very clear to me that many were deeply unhappy souls. And when we got to know the real person, they found it very difficult to go back to their monastery or convent where they felt oppressed and suppressed. Whose business is it anyway, whether you're gay or straight, disabled, black or white, whether you're a Japanese, Pakistani, whether you're a Muslim, a Jew or a Hindu? Society has got an awful lot to answer for. How we label people. I remember in 78, I took my senior post as a charge nurse on a medical ward, and it was a wonderful, wonderful time in my career path. And I went to my first meeting with my other peers and colleagues, and there was a nursing sister there who was very English and very anti-Irish. And sadly at that time the IRA blew up a boat and killed Lord Mountbatten, the uncle of Prince Charles. That caused a lot of pain for the Irish community in Manchester, because a lot of us had to go into hiding because of the backlash to a member of the royal family being slaughtered by a terrorist group. The Irish people do not represent terrorism, and yet we paid the price. And this sister was so vitriolic in her words. She more or less blamed me for the deaths, saying I should be ashamed. I said, I've nothing to be ashamed of. I'm ashamed of the perpetrators of such violence on human life. And the same has happened with all the bombings in Al-Qaeda and 9/11. My heart goes out to the Muslim community because they've been targeted. Many people are saying, pack them all back to Pakistan. That's cruel. They're not all terrorists. And it's the same with your sexuality. But I know the Christian church has made life very difficult for me and for a lot of the people I've befriended and supported in monastic orders. The church comes down on you like a brick from heaven. But they're coming down on you because they're running away from their own fear. There are more men and women in holy orders, in all faiths, who have this duality, Arthur-Martha syndrome. And of course, their position of office gives them a degree of respectability to play games with people's minds. I know in the Catholic Church there is this awful teaching on homosexuality, and I'm not rabbiting on about it, but it's destroyed many lives. I know of Benedictine monks and other monks who've hung themselves because of the shame when they discovered that they had gay tendencies. They weren't rampant homosexuals out on pride. They were ordinary men and women, most of them, who were living a contemplative spiritual life, but had discovered their sexuality for the first time in their 30s, 40s, or 50s. And then the nightmare hit them. They realized the church's teaching on them, and they couldn't cope with it. What does that say about religion? Would Jesus, God, do this to his own children? Definitely not. And yet the church and religion seem to condone its members who are ordained to go off and abuse young children and play with the minds of the vulnerable and the innocent and get off scot-free. And the money that's paying the compensation isn't coming from the coffers of the church. It's coming from the ordinary man and woman and child who gives their savings. So I feel today we need to stop pinpointing the finger on ethnicity, on sexuality, and embrace each person as a child of God. And if anybody who's watching this video, who's struggling with their sexuality or their belief, or who are judgmental towards those who are gay, then I plead with your heart. Ask yourself, what is God saying to you? Put aside the teachings and what it says in the Bible. That's been contaminated by man. Man has changed what God has said. And the only way you will hear what God is saying is turn on the satellite station of your heart and connect with the Supreme God this day. And you ask God, as I've done, is it wrong to condemn someone who is made in your image and likeness, who happens to be different? And the answer is always the same. I created you in my image and likeness. You are my perfect child. So anyone thinking of throwing abuse at a child of God because they dare to be the different color to you, a different belief to you, or a different lifestyle choice to you, then you've got some serious answering and some questions to answer before God. Judge not that ye yourself be not judged. Or as Augustine said, there go I but for the grace of God. We are all children of God. We are all different, we are all unique, we are all special, but we are all blessed. And to single one group out because they dare to be different is saying to God, I am not pleased with your creation. And that in my book is spiritual arrogance of the most heinous kind. It's deflammatory and it's not worthy of a person who says they're in service to a loving God. Because my God is a God of love, not fear. My God does not shackle me to a life of misery and fear. Thank you.